Hi Virgos, welcome to your October 2019 Numerology 33 reading. Thank you to those of you who have liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, and donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. And just to let you guys know, I will be starting personal readings up again in October. So for those of you who watched this when I first posted, we're still a couple weeks away from that. But yeah, once October rolls around, if you guys are interested in a personal reading, just shoot me an email. You can check out the description of the video for all the info on that. Alright, so with that out of the way, we do have a Celtic cross spread in front of us as always. You've got extra cards in a position of hopes or fears, so quite a lot to look at there. And then we have a couple of oracle cards to look at and a mudra card. So let's get started with the main spread. The main situation position, we have the Queen of Swords. So this is actually a court card that represents Libra. So this could just, of course, be pointing to the fact that we have a lot of Libra energy at play. We did have a full moon in your opposite sign recently too, so Libra being the natural ruler of the 7th house, this can just be pointing to possibly restoring balance in that area of your life. Maybe the full moon might have caused instability there, now you're actually trying to repair that, or vice versa. If it was already unstable, it might have given you some insight as to why that was the case. And as far as the financial focus, it could definitely be that as well, because like I said, there's quite a bit of energy going on in your second house. But either way, I do see the desire for forward movement. If we just look at the artwork of the card and the way that she's pointing forward. And like I said, with balance and fairness, I feel. So, it's like you're going to run roughshod over people, but that's the main vibe I'm picking up on there, is that you do want to have some kind of balanced, maybe even some communication as well, because you're going to have quite a bit of energy moving into your 3rd house as well with communication. So that could be at play too. Alright, in the challenger obstacle position though, somewhat different energy. We have the 8 of Swords, and this is actually a Gemini energy. So, nothing really going on in the sign of Gemini right now, but again, there's going to be a lot of 3rd house activity, and Gemini is being the natural ruler of that. That could be what's going on there. You might even feel a bit overwhelmed, so you might have to cut down some things. You might have to pick and choose where you place your energies as far as communication goes. It could be a lot of communication coming in for you guys. Another way this can be playing out as well, though, is it can just point to possible career situations, because Gemini is your 10th house. So, you can just be reevaluating where you want to go in the area of career, as far as, maybe feeling a bit stuck, feeling a bit stagnant right now. I don't feel that's the case for most of you, though, looking at the surrounding cards, but it's at least a possibility for some of you. And again, regarding communication, and if we factor in the Libra balance, right, maybe you're trying to think of the right way to say something, right? So that's why you might feel a little bit stuck, might be overthinking things a little bit too much, with the thought of being fair to everyone, right? Sometimes, unfortunately, it's just not possible, but that could at least be what your intention is right now. Like, okay, what really would work out best for everyone? So that could be what's going on there and why that's showing up as a challenge or obstacle. In the foundation position, we have the King of Pentacles. So I'm pretty sure we had this card in this same position for you guys last month, although I did get more of a negative vibe with it there, because it felt like more like a comparison type theme this time, last time. But this time around, I don't really pick up on that vibe. I feel like this is more of the energy you feel that you're in, actually. And maybe that's why you're shifting your focus to other areas, maybe because you feel that security in the area of finances and career. You might be like, okay, well, now I feel more established. I mean, for earth signs, that could definitely throw you guys out of whack if you feel like, there's some kind of financial instability in your life. So maybe you've just had some progress there. I mean, we had plenty of energy moving through your second house. Most of it still is, actually. I don't really think the Scorpio energy shifts are going to start until early in October, if I'm not mistaken. So for those of you especially watching this in September, this could just be pointing to all of the supportive energy you guys had going through your second house. And I mean, technically at the time I'm recording this, the sun hasn't even gotten there yet, but definitely a lot going on with that. Not to mention, as the planets are moving through your sign, they were making a lot of supportive aspects with some major players in the sky, Saturn and Pluto. So that might have also been helping you get a boost in that area of life as well. And not to mention Uranus too. So which is in your ninth house. So for some of you, you might have even, this could even be related to maybe some of you got some kind of an advanced degree or certification, and maybe that's what's bringing you to financial security. So now maybe that's where you're moving forward, right, with those new skills that you picked up. In the past position, we have the Queen of Pentacles. And there we go. This is actually a court card of Capricorn. So I can't remember if I mentioned or not, but that's Taurus down there. So we have Capricorn, all of the earth energies at play. And maybe this is, if I just look at her body language, it looks like, yeah, she has the pentacle, but it's almost like why is it not focusing? All right, there we go. If we look at her facial expression, it almost makes me think of that, okay, well, now what type thing, right? And that's why I'm saying, it looks like it did grow. Maybe you're at that Queen of Pentacles point. Maybe the Saturn retrograde especially might have made things feel like they were a bit more sluggish for you. It just turned direct basically. And when we roll into October, Pluto will also be going direct in that same house. So, maybe where you might have felt like you were just treading water for a while, now you feel like you're gaining some traction and seeing some growth. That could be what's going on there. In the present position, we have the Seven of Wands. So this usually represents having to defend yourself, defend your position on something. Usually it does point to success in doing so. If you, just look at the other wands down there, right? It looks like they're coming from beneath the person, and it looks like they have that higher ground, right? That higher vantage point from which they can face those, that attack from. So it does represent some luck there, and, even though it might not be might not be the most pleasant energy to be in, it does look like you will have success with the actual conflict there, if there is some kind of conflict. So, this could be almost anything. For you guys, this is a Leo card. Leo is your 12th house. So, maybe you could have a lot of 12th house energy. So maybe this is even you fighting off your own self-doubt in some ways, maybe especially with that Eight of Swords energy. And the challenge or obstacle, maybe it's just, these are your own things you tell yourself. And if that's the case, because I think I was saying last month to watch out for, comparing yourself and to others. So maybe this is you just breaking away from that finally and getting a little bit of freedom in the process too, especially since we see the sun in the near future position. For others, this can be dealing with other people. Maybe, again, especially if you're starting to experience some success now, right? Of course, we know how that goes, right? The story's been told a million times. You start to get some success. You also start to get some haters with that. So this could even represent that. Or just maybe some kind of action you might have taken in the recent past has people asking questions and you're defending yourself. But like I said, either way, it looks like it would be successful. Of course, most people would probably rather avoid that dynamic altogether, but if you do have to deal with it, it's a pretty good way to deal with it. It looks to be pretty short-lived too, from what I'm seeing in the supporting cards. In the near future position, we have the Sun card. So we have more Leo energy here, technically. The technical major arcana card for Leo is Strength. But since they're ruled by the Sun, I also think of Leo energy with this. So again, this can just be some kind of renewal in that area of life for you. Maybe your intuition's really starting to improve, since we do see the High Priestess in the environment position as well. Beyond that, this can just be saying that maybe you feel like reinvigorated in the area of creativity, because again, like I said, you've had some intense energies hovering in your fifth house. They're still there. They're not going anywhere anytime soon. But at least now, Saturn has just gone direct at the time of recording this, and then Pluto, I think around the 3rd of October, will be going direct as well. So maybe where you might have felt like again, more feeling trapped in your head than anything. Like I said, maybe you had a ton of ideas swarming around in your head, but not really knowing how to move forward with them. And now with those transits, with those planets starting to go direct again, and like I said, they were being hit with some supportive energy as all those planets move through your sign as well. Maybe that's actually picking that area of life up for you again. And fifth house could also point to romance as well. So, and then just energetically as well. You do still have Mars moving through your sign. For a little bit, I think it's going to shift into Libra around the first week of October. But as of right now, maybe that's what's helped too. Having Mars in your sign has helped reinvigorate you in some way, shape, or form. All right. In the position of your influence on the situation, we have the Death card. So this could actually be pointing to a few things. The first thing that came to my mind actually is that this can just represent you relinquishing control in some way. Like I said, whether it was worrying too much about overthinking things too much, maybe worrying too much about what other people think, right? Even that could be the way that this is playing out as well. And maybe that's how the Queen of Swords energy could be pointing, what it could be pointing to as well, rather, is always thinking about other people and almost to your own detriment, possibly. So maybe you're putting that all behind you and just saying, you know what, throwing caution to the wind, maybe being a bit more risky with the Sun card in the near future, just really letting loose, just being authentic, not to say you guys weren't before, but maybe you were just holding so much back, that, okay, you were giving people some of you, but maybe now you're just really opening up a bit more, which you normally wouldn't think with the Death card, right? It doesn't look like a very open, inviting energy, but that's just how I'm seeing it in the context of this particular spread. Not to mention, again, Death card. This is a Scorpio energy. That's your third house of communication. Like I said, there's going to be plenty of energy moving through there. And not to mention, you're actually going to have a full moon in your eighth house. So if we look at Scorpio as the ruler of the eighth house, your eighth house will have a full moon around the middle of October. So there's plenty of scorpionic energy going on for you guys in significant houses that could point to this as well. But yeah, if you combine those two, okay, a lot of things going on in your house of communication. And also with that eighth house full moon, right, that could be leaving some things behind. And like I said, for some of you, I think it can be control because the Death card represents, well, if we talk about the numerology, it reduces to a 4. And good thing we have the Emperor here as well, because this is the other 4. So you think about the Emperor energy, it's a lot more, controlling. Even if it's well-intentioned, it can be very controlling, wanting things a very certain way and not handling it too well if things don't go their way. And then the Death card could just represent letting that go. I almost even look at this as like, the shift of the Death to that Emperor energy. And then after the Emperor, we have the Hierophant. So I almost see this as the Hierophant there. It's like moving toward a more spiritual way of viewing things. If that makes any sense for you guys. Hopefully it did. All right. In the environment position, we have the High Priestess. So again, this could definitely represent other people in your environment, but I feel like this is mostly for you as well. Again, pointing to just really tapping into your intuition, having some more success in that area. We did just have that Pisces full moon about a week ago, and even though that's not your 12th house, Pisces is the natural rule of the 12th house, so that might have even been what kicked some of that off for you as well, because it was opposing some stuff going on in your sign too, so it could definitely be pointing to that. For others' view, if we do think about the Pisces energy and we think about how Neptune has been squaring Jupiter for a while now that's finally coming to a close. This could also be the depth if we think about 4, right? We were talking about the number 4, and we think about the 4th house, which is where Jupiter is right now in Sagittarius, your 4th house. This could also be as well, leaving some thoughts behind that you might have had from early childhood that might have been hindering you in some way in that area of life, your 7th house. That could be how it's playing out, because that square aspect that we're seeing is finally going to be done in October. It's, Jupiter's going to continue to move forward and start moving its way into your 5th house. I believe it's going to be early December when that happens. So that could be what this is pointing to as well. But yeah, overall, I feel like this is just an energy of just being very in tune with your emotions, having a firm grasp on them as well. The pomegranates in the background there represent fertility and prosperity as well. And like I said, this can represent others too, though, because maybe this is someone that's in your life. Maybe because you're starting to pursue more of those spiritual type things. Maybe you've met someone who's also on that path, or maybe even someone's introducing you to that path as well. That could be another way it's playing out. I do normally see this as a Pisces energy, so you certainly could be dealing with the Pisces. But yeah, it's just more of that energy, I feel, more than a specific person. In the hopes or fears position, we have the Emperor, the Queen of Cups, the Seven of Swords, and the Page of Pentacles. Weird mixture of cards, quite frankly. But, alright, so here's one way this could be playing out. This could be a hope of yours, right? You hope to stay in control, right? Protect your feelings, right? Because the Queen of Cups, this is the only cup card where that cup is closed off, and it looks like, it's definitely holding something important, right? Now, if we think about Cancer energy, I sometimes think of this as representing the womb. So I do have to say between that and the High Priestess can point to some fertility as well. Maybe possibly some of you are considering pregnancy. I don't think that's the case for most of you, but I have to at least put it out there. But yeah, this could just represent protecting yourself emotionally. Because maybe you're fearing, right? Hopes or fears. Fearing deception, and possibly taking a loss in the process. Because again, if this is really supposed to be representing your energy, the King of Pentacles, right? You might feel like this could knock you down some if you were to let someone in. So again, that fear, and we could also say this as fear, right? Your fear of losing control, right? Fear of letting someone in and then end up being hurt. And we could even say maybe even feeling foolish for it, right? Because if you're in the King of Pentacles energy and someone makes you feel like a page after the experience, right, that could be how it's playing out too. Purpose view, this can just represent more discernment too, though. Just really protecting maybe something that you've been working on for a long time, trying to get it just right, right? Maybe you're keeping it to yourself because you're worried that maybe it's something you really value, right? Whatever it is, a creative project, a connection with someone, you name it. And you're worried that if you let people know what it's about, right, they might steal the ideas, right? That's one thing of here with the swords and this clear vibe of stealing something, right? Swords represent communications, ideas. You might fear that they'll steal your idea, and then, you end up taking a loss in the process because what was going to be your idea that maybe you thought would get you to the King of Pentacles point, now all of a sudden someone else stole the idea, ran with it, and now you end up taking a loss in the process. I do have to point out, regardless if these are hopes, if they play out in a more positive way or negative way, they're just hopes or fears. They're not necessarily indicators that this is what will play out. It just seems to be what's more on your mind. Trying to see if anything else comes to my mind with these cards. It's definitely a weird mixture of cards, like I said. Can be worried about some deception with a friend too, because I do have to say this is Aries represents your 8th house. We already said there's going to be a full moon there. Cancer represents your 11th house of friendship, social groups. This is an Aquarius card, so this can represent work, your work environment, right? So that could be it too. Maybe you know about a job offer, right? And maybe it's a promotion, for example. And you're interested in applying, but you're like, all right, if I tell everyone what's going on, someone might try to steal the job or something, you know what I mean? And then, okay, you'll feel that Page of Wands, Page of Pentacles energy, rather. So quite a few ways that could be playing out. Oh, and also before I forget too, you guys have the Magician at the bottom of the deck. And it's pointing, to me anyway, if we look at where it's pointing in the direction of the High Priestess. So I would say definitely a good month to trust your intuition too. And maybe that's what this is saying. If you do have some kind of an idea, right? Maybe your creativity gets re-sparked again, like we said with that 5th house energy, those planets in the 5th going direct again. maybe that's even what that's pointing to. If you get some kind of creative idea that you really think could take off and benefit you financially, trust your intuition on that, on how to move forward with it. All right, and then in the outcome position, we have the Ace of Wands. So, what I always say, those of you who've been watching me for a while probably sick of hearing me say it by now, but with the Ace energies, I always view them as they're just something in the idea stage. That's what I feel is represented by, it looks like that hand coming out of the cloud, right? It's not something tangible just yet. There's an idea that has, it has traction, but you do have to actually act on it. And I feel that that's what's communicated with the gray backgrounds too, right? Because the Ace energies always have that hope, that fear, that feeling rather of hope around them, right? Promise. But at the same time, okay, the background's always so gray, right? So to me, that represents the neutrality. It's like the potential is there, but you actually have to take action. No pun intended, since the Ace of Wands is about action. But that's what I see going on there. Hey, for some of you, this could even just be saying you need to buy some smudge sticks if you're all about the spirituality now. So maybe this is your first time buying some smudge sticks. I don't know. But yeah, Ace of Wands represent that there's, again, I feel this is relating to all of that energy we talked about with your fifth house, with those planets finally going direct. Maybe you get some kind of a new idea for a creative project. You just have to actually act on it. Can also be around romance as well. Like I said, it is fifth house related. All right. Moving on to your oracle cards. The first one we have is regeneration. There's the artwork for it, and the number is 46. Okay, it says rebirth, second chances, new opportunities. The oracle's message: second chances are available to you now. Whatever opportunities you thought were dead are now revived in a more authentic, stronger form. Whatever you may have perceived as a failure or loss is now being replaced by something better and more powerful growing in its place. This rebirth is assured. Step into your new life. Destiny is being fulfilled in wondrous ways. So definitely a pretty solid message there. I do feel like this is more new stuff than anything, but it could certainly be a rebirth. Like I said, maybe this is an idea you've been sitting on for a long time, and maybe, maybe you did try to present it in the past, and maybe people shot it down, but maybe now you just feel, like, all right, again, trust your intuition. Like, no, I really think this is a good thing. Maybe you try it again, like I said, with the planets moving direct in your fifth house. Maybe that actually starts to take off for you guys. Okay. The relationship message says the world is based on connections and relationships. No matter what loss has occurred in the past or even now, death and endings are only illusions. There is life after death, love after loss, and in this moment you are radiating the regenerative life force energy that makes you irresistible to love in all forms. Now is the time when you will see evidence of this new emergence. Can you feel it? Love is rising up to greet you. So, pretty good message there. Like I said, these fifth house energies that we do see can point to potential romance as well. And the prosperity message says, what happens when it appears you failed at something? Do you see the beauty in the lesson? The understanding that arises from difficulties is like a seed that lies dormant for a time. Then once it germinates in your subconscious, it pushes through into your awareness. It is becoming apparent that there is a new you, a new start, a more powerful version and form of what you began to plant in the garden of your imagination has surfaced. You are ripe for success. New opportunities, much better than those that came before, appear like gifts from the gods. Now is one of those times when out of seeming loss and failure comes remarkable abundance. Do not dwell on the past, because you really are experiencing a rebirth. So, definitely a pretty cool message there. And it's almost like, we have the death card here, which some people freak out about, which it's no reason to freak out. But then this almost makes me think of the judgment card, that death and rebirth energy together. So, looks like through letting something go, something better is going to come along for you guys. That's pretty cool. All right, and next we have Coyote Spirit. It says, trust in divine detours. And this is from the Spirit Animal Oracle deck. There's the artwork, and the number is 16. Okay, it says, do you find that you are being led on a strange detour in your life right now? Does it seem that what appears to be the next right action and the right choice, best situation, or fabulous relationship unexpectedly turns into the opposite, or just disappears into thin air as if you've been tricked? Coyote Spirit's trickster energy is designed to bring you into situations to teach you lessons you have forgotten to learn. Perhaps you need a taste of failure before you experience success, a need to feel disappointment before you can truly appreciate the joy, love, and prosperity that is coming up for you. Perhaps you are revisiting a pattern you forgot wasn't in alignment with the life you are intending to co-create, being reminded that gratitude, not complacency, will keep you awake and aware of all that is available to you in this moment. Coyote Spirit reminds you to laugh about the unexpected twist, to develop humility and gratitude while releasing your attachments to the form of your desires. Even when you suddenly find yourself on a detour, wondering when you will get back on track to manifesting what you desire, remember that Spirit has a plan and wants the best for you. Trust in divine order now. Coyote Spirit is a divine helper. No matter what seems to go astray, things are exactly as they are supposed to be. So, I mean, I could definitely see those energies playing out with the Magician, High Priestess, and obviously the Death card as well. And maybe this is more talking about the Eight of Swords energy you guys might be feeling coming into the month that might be, holding you back in some way, shape, or form. And like I said, it looks like for some of you, this really does represent relinquishing control, right? Being a bit more loose and jovial with the Sun energy, and then that might end up being what frees you guys up in some regard. All right, last thing we have is a Mudra card for this month, and this is the one that you guys got. It's the Kashyapa Mudra. The keyword for it is preservation. All right, so I'll show you guys that Mudra one more time, then we'll flip it over so you could see the info on it. All right, and if you guys wanted to pause it or take a screenshot to read what it has to say, you can. And then not everything fits in the frame here, so I'm going to move it up so you can see the rest. All right, it says grounding and centering, balances masculine and feminine qualities, protects against negative energies and unfriendly or confused spirits, sometimes called orphan spirits. Interesting. So, I was kind of joking about the whole smudging thing, but maybe some of you guys do need to do a little smudging in your space if you feel like the energy is just a bit off for some reason. But we'll wrap up there, guys, and I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.